Hi, thank you for coming to the next section of the border wall project for the California area. This will be section 3, my environmental background and physical geography presentation. For this section, I would like you to keep in mind the 1973 Endangered Species Act, which directs federal agencies in the protection of species that have been listed threatened. Also, in this photograph here, you can see existing border wall fence that transects the Algodones Desert in Southern California. For the purposes of this presentation, in the section of my analysis of the border wall geography and cultural area, I've divided the environment and geography into 4 subregions. The coastal scrub habitat, which runs from the coast at the Pacific Ocean of California, inland through the urbanized area into the foothills. And then from there, the transitions to what I refer to as the Laguna Mountain area, a long area of the border wall protection area through numerous Mediterranean, warm to hot Mediterranean climate, scrub brush habitat, up to the peak of the Laguna Mountains. And on the other side, descending back into the Sonoran Desert area, including the Algodones Desert. And then a thin strip of land on the far eastern side of the APE, the Colorado River riparian habitat, which lies directly adjacent to the Colorado River. And just as an overview here, there's 1,954 miles of proposed border wall within this impact area. There are potential impact to unknown archaeological sites as well as the known archaeological sites along the route of the course. And then also I'd like to keep in mind the endangered species listed in the endangered species with potential negative impacts and watersheds along the Tijuana River and possibly along the Colorado River as well. And then there's also several other smaller watersheds, other class watersheds running south out of Laguna Mountains across the border, and then also to the east out of Laguna Range and other ranges in the area, into the east, into the dry valley of the Imperial Valley. And then there's endangered and endemic faunal habitat, also with potential negative impact along the coastline. And like I mentioned before, the watershed impacts along the Tijuana River. The geography of this area in the coastal zone, as I said, is heavily urbanized, and this is where the endangered scrub habitat is along the actual coastline. It's said to only encompass 15% of its original range between the San Diego border and up by San Francisco, California. As you ascend into the Laguna Mountain Range, it's bounded to the south and the east with the Sierra de Juarez Range, which extends into the country of Mexico, the Cuyamaca Mountains, and the transitional phase from the foothills up in the mountains outside of San Diego, California. And the highest peak, if you go through the Laguna Mountains, is around 1,900 feet, just under 2,000 feet. As you descend into the Sonoran Desert, this is a vast desert landscape. And there is actual sand dunes out there. They are tens of miles east to west. I think it's just under 100 miles. I think it's about 80 miles. It's a vast, dry area, and it's from a prehistoric lake that used to fill from the Colorado River drainage. They say that the sands collected at the edge of a prehistoric lake that no longer forms. I believe that was called Lake Cahuilla. Colorado River Zone riparian supports a diverse species and habitat area. Hundreds of species in that area, hundreds of birds, migratory fowl in that water area, the Colorado River. And the environment of the coastal Pacific zone is a coastal climate area. It has a diverse faunal and floral species represented in that area. If you include the ocean species too as well, various fishes and ocean mammals as well. As mentioned before, the Laguna Mountains are a Mediterranean climate. Do the precipitation in there for you. Around 33 centimeters annually for this sub-area. And then the Sonoran deserts, the maximum temperatures can go to 118 degrees, very low precipitation area, but they do experience a monsoon area over the desert down there. And then the Colorado River zone, it carves through this vast desert landscape, but it empties a massive watershed of the Colorado River that goes up into the center of the United States, into the Rocky Mountains. The flora within the border wall project area includes coastal scrubs. As mentioned before, only about 15% of this, and the major threat actually is urbanization along the coast. Many endangered and threatened plants in the Sonoran Desert area. These include the saguaro cactus and the Oregon pipe cactus. And then the small riparian zones that I mentioned before that flow south and east out of the Laguna Mountains. And also the endemic story pine. The fauna in relation to the Endangered Species Act on the coast, in the coastal scrub zone of the border wall project area, the El Segundo blue butterfly and the Palos Verde blue butterfly are noted to have been within that area. In the desert and mountain zones, the jaguar, Mexican gray wolf, ocelot, and the Sonoran pronghorn are also in those areas. The Colorado River zone, the humpback chub, bonytail, Colorado River pike minnow, and razorback sucker are already species that are listed on the ESA. Again, like I said, that directs the federal agencies in their protection. And then here's my reference slide. Thank you very much. The next section is 4.0.